Hello, this is Steve. Hello all you Vapor Kings out there. I'm here to review another tank today. The Smok Tf Rta. A rebuildable tank. Which I just love rebuildable tanks, as I hope you know now by now. Maybe you don't. I know this came out in 2015, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen them. But there are lots of good sales right now, and you can get these for like 15 bucks on several sites. They're making room for all this new stock that just inundated our industry, and I love it right now. What we have to keep in mind is that this is all there is. We're not going to see much new stuff unless it was brought out in another country or whatever. So, without further ado, the Smok, the Tf Rta. This is another excellent tank from Smok. They've really gotten it down. They've got two decks for this. They've got the G4, which has this 4-pattern deck style. You wick through 2 and go into the hole, and then you wick the other 2 and go into the hole. There's holes on each side of those decks, and that's how you wick those instead of one at a time. This is the one I've got, which is a dual coil, which is just fine with me. And you wick it just regularly, just through the coil and down into the holes. The key is it's got a drip channel in there, and you want to make sure that it goes about halfway to 3/4 of the way down into the channel. And you'll see the channel. I've got it already built, so here it is. It's a beautiful tank. I love it. You can see the little holes there. They look like gold holes. Well, that's the juice flow control. And watch this. You just turn that, and juice flow is off. When it's black, on, I believe. Yep. It's open when they're gold colored, and it's locked when you can't see them, when they're kind of a black color. I like that because this is the kind of tank you can carry around. My trick is to leave it unlocked, which is to the right, clockwise. Turn it upside down. Let all the juice flow out of it, and then lock it, and it'll all come back down. There shouldn't be any bubbles in there. If you got bubbles, that means it's filling the chamber down below where the air holes are, so it'll end up leaking on you. That is a good way to keep it from leaking. And it's got 4 air holes that are, I'd guess, 2 millimeters by 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters by 4 millimeters. I don't have my gauge right now. Instead of 2 great big cyclops holes, they've got 4. And the reason is so that they'll have a airflow hole for the G4 deck for each of the coils to keep them cooler. Or the G2 deck, and you'll have 2-way cooling that way. The taste is good. It's really, the Smok has the RTA market pretty well done. I love these drip tips they've made for these. It's Delrin on the bottom with your silicone. Delrin on the bottom. It all looks like metal. It's stainless steel, painted stainless steel. And then in the inside, let me see if I can get that there. Okay, you see that? Right there in the middle, you see that little round circle. That's glass and Pyrex, which doesn't conduct heat, which makes it not conduct heat at all. So it's real cool going down in your mouth, and it doesn't burn your throat because it keeps it cool. So I love that. And again, easy opening. In fact, this one's a real easy opening tank because when I was breaking it in, I've had it for 6 months or more. I just would push it just a little bit on the last little bit, see? Instead of just pushing hard and it'll click in, but that way it keeps that little hinge there from getting out of whack. It keeps it smooth and it keeps it from leaking. This build is at 0.21. 0.21. It's dual dual Clapton coil. That's what it came with. Fused Clapton coils, just like the newer TF V8. In fact, the build decks on most of these, especially the RTDA or RTF Rta, which I'm going to review too, is most like it. The decks don't interchange, but they're very similar. This one does have juice flow control. So does the TF Rta. They didn't use on the TF V8. They didn't put in a juice control flow reducer, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why. That's the best idea that anybody's ever had, and they should build them into every tank, especially rebuildables, because they're so easy to leak, especially if they tip over or if you hold them at an angle for very long. Anyway, I'm running this one at 70 watts in power. I've ran the same tank in titanium and stainless steel. I like to run it in TCR mode. You can go to DSL Labs, and Daniel has on his website, he's got a link to it. Go to any of his videos. He's my favorite reviewer because he's very, very thorough. I should only hope to be half the reviewer, and don't think I ever will be, but this guy, he really goes through it, and he takes everything apart. He takes the tanks apart all the way down to every bit of it. He measures every little thing. Point is he's got a list of every known kind of wire you can think of that we would vape with, and he's got the TCR values for them. Copy it, because you never know when they take down all these vaping sites, and so I would get a printer and copy that page, because that is That's the key to TCR. If you get it right and push in the, most of the mods now have, or the better temperature control mods have TCR values mode on it, and if you push in the right numbers, of the coefficient of the wire, then it works excellent, especially stainless steel. I was surprised at 317. Now they've got like 316, 316L. I didn't know what the difference was, but L is a much lower coefficient level than 316 is. So you can't set them at the same, and most of them are set at the L level. So when you put it in your regular temperature control for stainless steel, they've got it with the wrong coefficient rating put into it, and it's not going to work right. And that's what's happening. So anyway, with all that said, this is the G2 deck, and I think I'm vaping on some great bubble gum. I really don't like, my favorite are the desserts, vanillas. I vaped so much vanilla everything that I had to give it up for like 6 months because I couldn't taste vanilla at all. It just tasted like juice, just juice. I couldn't distinguish vanilla. So, with that said, I started getting back to a little bit of vanillas. I'm just loving it. My favorite is Capella's original vanilla cupcake. Not the second version, the first. It is just, it smells like somebody is cooking vanilla cupcakes in your house. You put some blueberry in it, you got vanilla blueberry cupcake. So anyway, enough said about that. I have a vape here. It's a flavorful vape. Tastes like great bubble gum. Remember those, I forget what they, Hubba Bubba or something like that. I don't remember. It's been so long. I chewed bubble gum. Anyway, I like the more cinnamony type gums or whatever if I'm going to chew some. This is a 24.5 millimeter tank. It's smaller at the bottom. That seems to be most of the new smoke tanks, that they kind of get bigger towards the top. The glass is bigger, some of them. Or maybe it just appears that way. I know one of them is the Tf Rta is definitely kind of bowed out in the glass. So anyway, so it'll hold more. But 24.5 milliliter, 24.5 millimeters is good size. Of course, I've got one here that is a Vapors Cloud 30 millimeter. It's a VCMT, Vapors Cloud Mega Tank, and that is one huge tank. Anyway, I'll get to that. I'm sure you've seen the reviews probably on the 24 millimeters. Don't fit on too many. It hangs over on the RX 200s. The only one I know that it doesn't hang over is the Boxer. The Boxer 160 or the Boxer 200. Mike Bapes has the 25 millimeter tank on review sitting on a boxer, and they put the 510 connection right in the middle, which was great. Hold on. Oh, forget that. I'll just let it run on there and then I'll have to edit it out. I should have took the phone out of this room, which is what I'm going to do now. Excuse me. Okay, couple of minutes long there. Anyway, back to you with the Smok. It's a real easy deck to build on. It is, I believe, 18 and a half, maybe 19 millimeters. Plenty of room to build just any kind of thing you want to build. Just about any of them. There's so many different wire builds now, coil builds. It just blows my mind, some of the stuff people come up with. But some of them are pretty good. They do add to the flavor, so that's a good reason for doing that. Plus, it's fun to build new coils and stuff. I love it. This is my hobby, as well as I would love it to be my job too. That would be great. It was for a while, doing mixing new flavors. So got plenty of mixing juice and nicotine and all that good stuff. Now this one, the Tf Rta, holds 5 milliliters of juice, as compared to the one that came out right after it, which is the Tf Rta, which is very little difference. It's got a longer chimney. The deck sits much lower in the tank, and the glass is pretty much smaller, but you get 4.5 milliliters. 4 probably, without just pushing it all the way to the top, but they say 4.5. What you get in, of course, is your tank and a nice big fat smoke band. How people got Smok out of that, I don't know. Smok was always spelled S-M-A-U-K or A-U-C-K, S-M-A-U-C-K to me. And that's the way Webster's defines it. I don't know how S-M-O-K ended up with that. It's, actually it was Smok Tf to begin with, and they just dropped the tech and went with Smok to define themselves from a few of the other competing companies. So, a little knowledge on that. What all this comes with, I'll unbox it for you, is you can buy it with either the G4 or G2, and you can find these at just beautiful prices. I mean, really low prices right now. So if you need a few extra tanks, and you're probably going to, unless you've just got more money than you know what to do with, then you'll need some stuff unless you want to have to pay, you know, a couple $100 for one of these. And I really believe that that's the way it's going to end up being. Anyway, what you get in here is, it says, it's made of glass, stainless steel. It's 84.5 grams. It's 65 millimeters tall by 24.5 millimeters wide. The thread is a 510. The capacity is 4.5 milliliters. I may have gotten those mixed up. It says the Tf Rta from Smok is an awesome rebuildable tank atomizer. It features two quite big build decks. G4 deck has an authentic quad coil design, and G2 deck has a dual post velocity style, along with Clapton wires pre-installed. These two big decks will be very easy to use and build. The Tf Rta has an innovative juice flow control system that allows you to close off the juice control before filling to prevent leaking effectively. The classic swivel top cap makes top filling as easy as it gets, and that's a fact. What it is included in this is the tank, of course, the G2 deck pre-installed, an Allen key screwdriver for G2 deck, the replacement glass tube, the Smok vape band, the user's manual, and spare parts. And in the box, let's see, we've got the user's manual, the extra glass, which is nice. I love it when they put extra glass. Can't stand it. I broke one glass to my super tank and couldn't find one for a long time. Extra grub nuts, O-rings. These are pretty small O-rings that go to this one. It's got the inspector's pass, the silica packs. I guess it gets humid in the containers shipping over here, or how are they? You know, most of them come over by plane, so I don't know. And this is the inspector's pass. So that's what you get in with this atomizer. And that's the Smok Tf Rta. It's a great atomizer. You can't go wrong with it. It's built very good, very precise threading, not greasy, not oily. Haven't had a bit of issues in 6 months. The only time it leaked is when I left it laying over on a table with the juice flow open, and it was just a couple of drops. But like I say, if you'll just cut it halfway to 3/4, you can put it all the way to the bottom of the deck if you like. Sometimes I do, it comes out that way. But if you want it to wick really good, and you know, if you lay it over something, just shut your juice flow control off, then just put them about halfway, and they will really wick like crazy. And make sure you wick them with the lining of the cotton, the strands of cotton going the same way as the coils through the middle of it. That way it wicks better. instead of cutting it opposite where it'll still wick right, but it's going against the fibers. Just a little tip I learned. I think it's one of the most beautiful tanks they got. It's got silver bands around it. It's a black on the inside. It's got gold for the cut off the flow where you can see the inside of the deck. And it's got right here stamped Tf Rta, and on the other side it's got the build deck G2. So and I love the glass insert, the Pyrex insert, to keep it cool, keep it from burning your lips. Couldn't stand it when they were just making stainless steel glass drip tips, and you either had to use Delrin plastic, which melted, or some other kind of, they really didn't come out with glass too much. They were very expensive at one time, but now most of them have that. The airflow didn't really cut it down on heat, but some of them get really, really hot, especially the ceramic ones. Anyway, I'm going to take one more pull and conclude this video and this review of the Smok tank. It's a really good deal right now going on. This is July 23rd, Thursday. Yes, the deeming FDA things. How do you like my tobacco product? It's ridiculous. Thank you, FDA. Thank you, all those people that drank whatever they drank to come decide about all this stuff and try to put Americans out of business. Let's keep America's working, and let's start making these things ourselves. We can do this. Take a lot of work and a lot of cooperation, but it can be done. We all need to make a living. Whether you're in China, it's a world economy now. So, if they're not against us, they're with us. So let's look at it that way, folks. Anyway, Smok is a good company. They make quality products, and they have really excelled at listening to what the vapors want and need, and they've done a really good job with this tank. And I'll take another pull, and we'll see you on the next video. Steve, to all you Vapor Kings, we'll see you on the next one.